everywhere, any other editor also. So there are online editors also, so don't worry about it. So I have saved the file as .js. In this way you have to save the file as a .js extension, you know that. So first what we will do, we will make the particular node. How we are going to make the node? We are just creating a class here, because in class we can encapsulate the two things together. So I make a node by the node name as it is, so node with the value, and then I'm going to create one constructor. Because we are working in Visual Studio Code, it will give us some IntelliSense, that means the suggestions to it. So I'll just go with it, and I just open and close. I need to pass some data because I have to make a node for it. So data will be passed with the help of functions. I'm going to create that. So if it is in class, so we need to mention this with it. So we say data is equals to the passing data. That's it. These are the things which we have covered in encapsulations and all. So this dot next is equals to, we know the concept is saying null. This one is, as we were saying in theory, the data part of the node, and this one, when we say this is a pointer, that is a next to the node. Okay, this is how we have created the box. Now we want to make the functions out of it. So we want class, one more class we are going to declare, that is linked list, or you can take any name to it. So first class in the first initialization, this was the initialization for the data and the next. One more thing which is very important, as I told you in theory also, the engine for the railway, the engine for the train. So what is the engine here for the linked list? It's head. So we need to declare the head, but we have to use it globally. So we say this dot head here, and we say equals to null. That's very easy now for our, if we say this dot head is equal to null, but if we put it as it is, it will show you an error. So you need to make one more constructor, because we are going to initialize. So whenever we are initializing something, we need to use a constructor in JS. So just cut this line here and paste it inside the constructor. That's it for the head. Now the time for operation, that is insertion at end. So we say insertion end is a function which we are going to write. See, there is one more thing which you have to always remember. Whenever you are working with JavaScript, whenever you are creating a function without the classes, you need to put function here. But whenever you have function keyword, I'm telling, so whenever you are working with classes, you need not to use that keyword. So I'm taking a user defined function, that is insertion at end. Definitely we need to pass some value to it, because value will be passed by the user. So I'm saying okay, with the parameter we need not to define. This is a beauty of JS, we need not to define the data type for it. Okay, now I want to add the node at the end, so I need to create that first. So I say console const, that is a constant value. You can put var, you can put let, that is your choice. So I'm saying, for example, new node, I can put nd as a new node, or I can say new or node. I can't put only new because new itself is a keyword. So I say new node is equals to, and I say new, and which type of, how it is going to allocate the memory, because we have already created a class. So we will give the class type to it, and this is the node. It can't be blank, because we have already provided one constructor with the value. So I need to pass that value to it. Okay, this is clear. So we have created a new node. We have not assigned the address. I have just assigned the data, which will be passed with the driver code later. We will see how. So now the first scenario which we have discussed, if what we are saying, if the list is empty, so if not this head dot head, if it is not there, that means if it is not containing any value, so we need to pass the value to the head, as I told you the first time, when the first element has to be. So that's it. If the theory is clear, then it is very easy to put it like this dot head is equals to new node. That's it, isn't it? Nothing new about it, because we have already worked with the theory. So now if the next scenario will be if the it contains many elements, or the two elements or the one element, and I want to insert one more. So for that, what I say, C is a current value. For example, current node, as I told you, it has to be assign a value head, because it has to be start with the head. Like we were saying I is equals to 0, it's very similar to that. Like we were putting the looping concept, I is equals to 0 while I less than 10, I plus plus and all. It's like that. In this case, if I say let C is equal to this dot head, I need to traverse to the end. That means I need to put a while loop here, and I need to say, this time what I am saying, I need to reach to the end. So what I am going to say, I say C dot next, that means not null. Like in C++ we were saying not null, so here you need not to, it will it will recognize that you are putting that thing. So if we were saying like we have to reach to the less than 10, and then we were putting I is equals to I plus 1 or I plus plus, we were generally putting like this. So in this case we need to put C is equals to C dot next, because we know C is containing the value for that. So that's it, we have closed it, we have closed that. But it has just reached to the level, we want to pass the value, that is a new node. That was the if case, but we have not passed the value to the else part. So we need to say C dot next is equals to new node. Very easy. See, this is the thing, whenever theory is clear, practical is almost clear. Now I want to remove the element. How we are going to remove? So before removing the element, we just want to see the element, and we want to go through how elements are going to be inserted and all. So for that we need to just enter here, and we need to write a driver code. That is, we are saying driver code for it. So we will say driver code here. So what we have to do in driver code, first we need to pass the value to the particular method, that is a particular function. The particular function is insertion at end, and it is under the linked list linked list class. So what we have to do, we have to create one object of that type. Then so which type of object we need to create? So we will create one object, that is a list, or L is equals to which type of new, and we have to mention linked list to it. And now this is a time where we need not to pass any value here, we will just create an object. Now we will see list dot, and we will see there will be a function insertion at end, and we will pass a value whatever I want to pass. If I want to pass 2 times, I can put it like this, list dot insertion at end, and I want to pass 2 values to it. If I just pass one value, it will go to the if. Okay, if I pass 2 values, it will go to the else. So if I just try to run the code, I'll not get anything. See, if I just try to run the code, I'll not get anything. Why? The reason behind is here, I'm getting this is not defined. Oh, I have mistakenly used somewhere this I need to use, and I have, you see, these are the silly things which you have to remember. So this dot head. Now if I just try to run the code, I'll not get anything. Even though error is not there, I'll just get a blank screen over here. Why? The reason behind is because I have not mentioned the display, that is a traversing function for it. So I'll use a print or a display or whatever you want. So I can say print node is a method for it. So in array simply, or in whenever you have to traverse through the looping, what you are doing, you are starting with the I0, I less than 10, I plus plus, always compare with that. So in the similar manner here also you have to print it like that. So but there will be one scenario, if the linked list is having no element, that means you have not inserted an element and you want to print it, so it should display the list is empty, isn't it? So we need to pass that logic to it. So if not this dot head, we need to say like this. If it is like that, you need to say in JS we say console.log and we say list is empty. So I'm saying this time list is empty, isn't it? Once type it while you are watching the recording. Okay, so this video you have to watch and you have to pause it and you have to just type it one by one. Okay, So then you have to, this is the first scenario when the list is not there. Second scenario can be there can be one element or there can be many elements. So we need not to go with that many else if and else if. We will say let c is equal to, that is I is equal to 0. So in our case I is equal to what is head, that is a current node is equal to head. And what we are going to work, we are just making a array here for displaying a good way. In a good way I am putting it as a blank. Okay, so we know how we can put the blank. We have worked with the strings. So I say okay, while c, that means the current node is not up to null, it has to be reached to null. So what I am going to work, I am saying list is equals to list plus, okay, list is equals to list plus c dot, every time I don't want any next value, I want c dot data here. Okay, and with that I want to concatenate with the particular sign so that it should give me the like graphical representation of it. So I'm putting it like this. So if you want to, you don't want to make it so lengthy, you want to, it should be little brief. So what you can do, we know there is one thing called as what, compound operators. So you can put it like this, list plus equals to c, whenever there is a left hand side and right hand side same thing concatenating, you can put it one time and plus equals to like that. So next step, if we will not do that, it will not work. So next step is what, c is equals to, we know I is equals to I plus 1, that is c is equals to c dot next. That's it. We need to put it like this. Okay, that's fine. We have closed the loop, and at the last, because we are passing it to the string, so we need to concatenate at the last that you are, because at the last you need to mention that the last will contain the null. So that's it. And then every time you need to display that value. Okay, you are going to display that value, and we know that is a concept of string every time. So we will go with this. If you don't want to do this, list is equal to this and all, you can just print what the value is, what, c dot data. You can print that way also. Just try it out. Okay, this is the way how you can display. If I just go with this, if I just say now this time list dot print, there is a one method. If I print here and if I print here, I'll just show you how it is going to be. List dot, I said list dot print node. Yes, and in this way I'm going here also, list dot, because it's an object, and with the help of object we know classes concept and all. If I just try to run the code, and I'll see what happened. List is empty first time, next time 8 and null it was showing, and last time it will say 8, 78 and null. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, now if I want to insert many elements, I can insert in the similar manner. I can just say list dot, I know insert, because every time I need to, if I'm inputting some value, I need to print that also. So what I do here, I just control C, then the control V, not to waste the time, and just go with that and just run it, and I'll see a beautiful list. First it will show list is empty, because we have mentioned that 8 and the null 878, 878, 56. Is it? It's inserting at end, you can see, isn't it? Okay, now it's time for removing an element. How we are going to remove? We know we have already worked with the theory concept. Now we will be able to go with that also. So how we are going to remove at end? So we will make one more method here. So what we will say, okay, I'm going to take the name as remove. You can say remove list, remove at end, that is your choice. So I say remove end to this. And now if you have to mention a particular element, no, because we know whatever there will be in the remove. There will be one more case, as in the case of insertion was, if the list is empty, we will quickly do that. We know now how to do. We will say this dot head this time, and we will say if like this, and we will put it console dot log, and this time I'm saying list is empty. I say list is empty. Okay, your list is empty for that case, because we know if the list is empty, just you have to return the value, that's it, and nothing to return. and close it. And if it is not empty, and the second case was what? If only one element is there, if there are no many elements. So for that case you will put one more if, and you will say if not, that means you are reaching to this dot head. That's great, but you don't have, there is only one choice for this dot head. Now we are saying this dot next, you have to reach to the second, because there is only one element. So we will say, oh, if you are like this, if you are having only one element, so what you will say? You will say this dot head. Earlier we were not saying this dot head is equal to null, because earlier nothing was there. In this case there is one element. There can be a scenario if there are many elements. For that case, what you will say? You will say, now I am saying else with this. I am saying else, you need to say again the same thing. You need to start with the start, that is this dot head, and you have to reach, like in the case of insertion we were doing, but in this case we need two elements, that is last and the second last. So for that we will say while we need to traverse to the second last node, because second to the last, that means there should be the position for the second last and the last element. So c dot next will be the second last, and if I say I want to reach to the last to the last, that is next to next, right? Very easy. In case of, you can say in JavaScript, it's very easy to do the concepts of your deletions or insertions like that. Okay, so when we have to traverse like this, if I say now I want to traverse till the end and the second last of the element, so I c dot next and c dot next to next, that's it. This one thing you have to remember, right? You need not to mention to the previous. Earlier in C++ we were taking one more element and or one more node, then we were traversing to that. Here we need to just mention. What do you have to mention? C is equals to c dot next, because to traverse you have to mention like this, I is equals to I plus 1. Just you have to traverse, nothing to do with that, nothing to insert, nothing to delete. Now after reaching to the level, what you will say? You will say c dot next is equals to null. That means second last element, you need to put null in the second last element's address part. So you are going to put that. That's it. That's it. Nothing to do. That's it. So you are closing here. You are closing here. This is one closing for the else, and there will be one closing for the while loop also, and there one closing for your if should. There will be one closing for, I think one closing I have not mentioned for else. So one for the else. Okay, one looping closing is here. Okay, so okay, now I have created this function at the last, so this closing will be for function also. Okay, so this is for, you can say you are starting with the class. You have one more thing you have to always remember: put the all methods inside the class, otherwise it will show you an error. So that's the reason I was just checking whether this closing is for the class or not. If you just go with here, see, this is matching with the class. Now all the method has been created: insertion, display, and the deletion. Now I want to delete an element which is at the last or at the beginning, whatever you want. For example, if I just go with this, I say list dot, I say okay, I want to remove some element at the beginning this time. If I just go through it, and if I just run the program, this time it will show list is empty 2 times. Why? Because it has been inserted, the element was only one element was in this case, and I am saying remove this, and this time it will show you the print that list is empty. Now if you want to remove the element here in this case, so if I say list, it is up to you where you want to. So if I say remove at the end, so this time what is at the end? 56. So answer should be 78 only. 78 null, 78 null, because you are printing it 2 times here also, isn't it? Here also, and when you are removing it, for example, if you are removing, displaying here, so 78 was there. If you remove it here, if you don't use this print statement many times, then it will display only one time, isn't it? That is up to you how you are going to work with that. In this way, You can insert the element at the end, you can display it, and you can remove the element in this way. So main thing is what, when your theory is clear, when your graphical representation of nodes is clear, then practical part of it is 101% clear. So that's it for today. Please share, like and subscribe if you really found this content useful. And I every time I tell my students, DSA is very easy if you are going through this approach. I'll meet you in the next part of this linked list series, and till then, take care. Bye bye.